Hello, welcome to the channel Y Stories. Enjoy watching.
Get used to being a loser, he mocked his wife as he left her with nothing, chuckling as he walked out of the courtroom. 5 years later, he froze when he saw rain was starting. Fine drizzle spattered against the windshield, covering it with a murky film that made everything outside seem unreal, devoid of familiar shapes and meanings. Nicholas Barreto had turned on the wipers about 15 minutes ago, just when he parked near the courthouse. There was still half an hour before the hearing, but he didn't feel like going inside. He knew Miranda was already there, having seen her just moments ago darting under a bright yellow umbrella, trying to quickly take cover from the rain behind the massive oak doors of the government building. In another hour, this woman will officially stop being my wife, Nicholas thought. Who could have imagined? Just like that, closing this chapter of life. How long were we together? Almost 8 years, a considerable amount of time, but only the first 3 years could be called happy. We should have divorced back then when it became clear that the love was gone. No, I kept hoping that we could rekindle our feelings, fix something. What is there to fix when this woman only knew how to torment me, always getting into some kind of trouble? The wise ones are right, don't surround yourself with losers. It's contagious. Miranda is exactly that kind, always dissatisfied, always creating scandals, stuck in that ridiculous hospital job. So-called altruist, disappearing for days and nights on shifts, with her patients more important than her own husband. I understand the calling, but to put in so much effort for such a miserable salary. And I gave her everything, but no, she had to be a nurse, saving people. If she were at least a doctor, I could understand. 30 years old, and her prospects are dubious, she could have at least furthered her education. I was ready to provide everything for her, she could have studied, and by now she would have been a fully fledged doctor. And this eternal habit of buying the cheapest things, always saving money. For God's sake, I earn well, it's embarrassing in front of friends when she shows up at a company party in some cheap dress from a mass market, a complete joke. She drove me to divorce, herself, and don't blame me. I filed the papers, but I had no other choice. I was just tired of her, coming home exhausted for the last 5 years, no decent dinner, no attention. Was I supposed to endure that? No house, no car, and still, she claims I don't understand her. This eternal women's whining. I married a cheerful girl, I loved her, God knows, I loved her, but you can't just drift along. Now, I'm curious about what she hopes for. Thinking I will leave her with anything. No way, she'll leave with what she came. Thank God we didn't have children, it would have been unbearable now. Let her run back to her mother. She's no better. Leaving my girl, you have no conscience. I have no conscience. Miranda always played the victim. Now she can live however she wants. I gave her everything, and she just looks down. I don't need anything, I'm independent. Yeah, we'll see how independent she is now. How is she going to live on her nurse's salary at the district hospital? And why is everyone pressuring me, leaving her with nothing? Why, exactly, should I leave her anything? The apartment is mine, I earned the money, she contributed mere crumbs to the family budget, and even that she spent on some charitable funds. Convenient setup, the husband feeds her, so she can help homeless children. I never understood her. You get married, swear that you love someone, and then just retreat into yourself, dedicating all your free time, of which, by the way, there is none, to strangers. And she let herself go completely, still quite young, but looks like an old woman, those perpetual bags under her eyes, that ponytail, she could at least do her hair once. Enough, I could go on forever. Nicholas took a deep breath, turned off the engine, and got out of the car. Avoiding the growing puddles, he headed towards the courthouse. His lawyer was already waiting for him at the entrance. Good afternoon, Nicholas, greeted the older man. Hello, Basilio, Nicholas responded, shaking his hand. I've been ready for a long time. I just want to get this over with. I saw Miranda going already. I didn't want to have any unnecessary contact with her. Aren't you being too harsh on her? The lawyer squinted. The case is already settled. I talked to the judge. Miranda won't get anything. If there were children, it would be different, but since there aren't. Exactly, but she didn't want children herself, always focused on work. Harsh? Do I owe her anything? Well, you were married for many years, and the reason for your divorce isn't the most common. Usually, such strictness, leaving the wife with nothing, follows infidelity, but your case is different. As they say, irreconcilable differences. This woman has become a complete stranger to me. Nicholas shook his head. She should understand that it's foolish to claim anything. All right, I get it, Basilio sighed. Let's go inside, it's about to start. Miranda was sitting on a bench with her legs drawn up, holding her bright yellow umbrella in her slightly outstretched hand. She glanced briefly at her husband and nodded to his lawyer. A young female assistant emerged from the courtroom and invited everyone inside. Miranda's day had been off to a bad start from the very morning. Not only did she have to take leave from her shift, enduring an angry tirade from the head nurse, but it also started raining on her way to court. Worst of all, her heel got stuck in a storm drain grate. While freeing her shoe, she snagged her stockings with the umbrella's spike and stained her coat. What a run of bad luck, thought the girl, jumping over the growing puddles on the asphalt. If I were superstitious, I'd definitely think these were bad omens. Though, how could things get worse than they are now? Why did the weather have to turn bad today of all days? It's like nature itself is mourning our lost happiness, Nicholas and me. I must be late by now. How much farther do I have to go? A couple of blocks? Why didn't I call a taxi? Oh, right, dear, forget about taxis. From now on, it's only walking or taking the bus. I'll have to economize. You can't live on a nurse's salary. Nicholas is obviously being very categorical, judging by how his lawyer talked to me. You won't get anything, Miranda, just so you know. As if I need anything. All I ever wanted was to spend the rest of my life with Nicholas. What got into him? Divorce. It hit me like a bolt from the blue. I'll never forget that day. We had just returned from the Ramirez families for May Day. At least he didn't say anything at their summer house. No, I get it. Lately, I have become rather edgy and hardened, but with a job like mine, how could I not? Everyone in the medical field is a cynic to the core. I'm still holding on. And Nicholas. I swear, I don't understand when he changed. He always liked that I helped people, but once he started earning more, the warning signs appeared. Easy for him to say, leave that ungrateful job. But who will I leave all those unfortunate souls to? People are already fleeing from hospitals, and we have to work double or triple shifts for peanuts. But what can I do? I took an oath to help people. And then he started harping on about further education. As a nurse, I do far more for patients than I would as a medical student. There are plenty of doctors, what we lack are working hands. How can I explain this to him? It's not prestigious, apparently, for the wife of a successful businessman to change bedpans, tend to the sick, and give injections. Getting sick is indecent, in principle. How can this job be disgraceful? Look at Leonardo Lascano, a thorough crook, but a respected man in town. Is that what Nicholas finds respectable? No, really, when did this break happen? For the first 3 years, we lived in perfect harmony. Nicholas doted on me, put me to bed after my shifts, even though he was running around like a hamster on a wheel himself. And then, could it be when I said it wasn't the right time to think about a baby? Maybe he resented me for that and harbored it all these years. But I didn't refuse, we just weren't settled in at the new place yet, it wasn't the right time for a baby. And then, later, he didn't want it himself anymore. But the funniest thing is, seriously funny, it would have made more sense if he cheated on me, found a mistress who pushed him to divorce. But no, he's just leaving, for nothing. I don't understand what's going on in his head. How can you just take and erase everything? Now we're getting the divorce stamps, they'll issue the certificate, or maybe after the court. I don't know how this works. Mom is all worked up too. Why does she care how things turned out between us? I understand, she wanted a good life for her daughter, but she shouldn't have interfered with her advice. I asked her so many times not to, but she's stubborn, always coming over without calling, staying as long as she wanted. How was I supposed to manage my personal life with her practically eavesdropping in the next room? It's terrible. I understand Nicholas's resentment, but we could have worked things out, talked it over in the end. I'm to blame too, he said it, and I accepted it as a decided fact, didn't even argue. I was so tired after the shift that at first, I thought it was a joke, but when I woke up alone in the morning, I realized Nicholas was serious. And once he makes up his mind, there's no changing it. He's always been like that, determined to the point of stubbornness. The worst part is that he thinks he's punishing me for something. For what? Does he want to take everything from me? I never had anything to begin with. As if I'm supposed to suffer. Yes, it will be unusual to start life over now, moving back in with Mom. She'll drive me crazy, start matchmaking right away with some acquaintance. I don't even want to think about it. Oh, I've already arrived. That's Nicholas's car. He's here already? So early? He usually arrives right on time. No, I won't go up to him, not worth it. Miranda pulled open the heavy oak door. Struggling with her wet umbrella, she squeezed inside. After passing through the metal detector, she headed straight to the restroom. She needed to fix her smeared makeup and somehow conceal her run in her stockings. The latter ran the entire length of her leg, visible to anyone looking. Miranda removed her stockings, brushed her hair, carefully wiped off the smudged mascara, and looked at herself in the mirror. Good grief, what a mess, she frowned. I'm only 30, but I look 50. No wonder Nicholas wrinkles his nose at me. These bags under my eyes alone are enough. I don't even have time to put on a face mask. I just slap on some cream in a hurry, just to get out of the house on time. A visit to the beauty salon? Forget it. I can see why he's embarrassed by me, but that still doesn't justify a divorce. Silence, that's the real reason, this feigned indifference, the coldness, even a kind of disgust, from both sides. But even if I pull myself together now, can anything be fixed? And pride, you can't just swallow it, the resentment is still there, and the exhaustion, this damn exhaustion. I haven't had a vacation in 4 years. Just when we planned one, the quarantine hit, total madness, and after that, better not to remember. Well, good luck, Miranda. Though what luck could there be in this situation? Miranda left the restroom and checked her watch. About 15 minutes remained until the hearing. She sat on a bench and started scrolling through the news, finding nothing of interest. Then, when Miranda looked up, Nicholas was already standing nearby. He didn't even glance at her. His elderly lawyer greeted her, and they were almost immediately invited into the courtroom. The hearing lasted no more than 10 minutes. As expected, the judge was completely on Nicholas's side. Miranda was not surprised. She could easily believe if someone told her it was all a well-paid setup. However, she knew perfectly well that it wasn't. The law was on her husband's side. She had no personal property, and everything they had acquired together was bought with Nicholas's money. Her husband's lawyer had ensured that receipts were provided for everything, even for soap. Miranda truly spent nothing on the household. And why would she, when her husband always assured her that he was ready to fully support their life? Miranda couldn't claim the apartment. It had once belonged to Nicholas's parents and had passed to him after their deaths. All the cars were registered to his company, as were the accounts and the summer house. In short, as a result of the court's decision, Miranda was left with absolutely nothing. Leaving the courtroom, Miranda decided to wait for Nicholas in the hallway. He appeared in the doorway a couple of minutes later. Nicholas, she waved her hand, desperately wanting to say something, but the words jumbled in her head. Yes? Nicholas raised an eyebrow. Did you want something else? I think it's too late to say anything. If you want to collect your things, come by any time, leave the keys with the concierge afterward. Miranda sniffled, feeling tears well up in her eyes. What's this? Nicholas was astonished. Are you crying? Really? You didn't shed a tear when the divorce was brought up, showed no emotion at all. And now, what's changed? It's too late, Miranda, to cry. Nothing can be changed. I don't want to live with a loser like you. You're to blame for everything. Or are you trying to play on my sympathy because I won everything in court? It was all done legally, no claims. You're such a... Miranda began, but then stopped. Nicholas looked at her expectantly, but Miranda just stood there, tears rolling down her cheeks. All right, he snorted, suppressing the sudden pang of pity for his ex-wife. I need to go, I won't hold you up. No need for dramatics, live your life, it's all over. He walked past her, brushing her shoulders slightly. Miranda watched as her now ex-husband descended the stairs until his head disappeared from view. At home, it was unusually quiet. Nicholas turned on the kitchen light. Yesterday, Miranda had taken the last of her things. She would never enter this apartment again. He pulled open the fridge door. Expectedly empty, he sighed. I should at least hit the supermarket. Or I can order delivery for now, no big deal, I'll get used to living alone soon. Or better yet, hire a housekeeper to cook and clean. We wouldn't even cross paths. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Nicholas browsed the delivery catalog but, unimpressed with the options, decided to head to the nearest pizzeria. It was around 10 p.m. The place was open until midnight, and inside it was empty. The board host seated him at a cozy table by the window and went to the kitchen to relay his order. Nicholas thought about the party he was attending tomorrow. His old friend Antonio Montero had invited him. Antonio had recently married a lively young woman named Marina. She was always hosting home parties, gathering crowds, never sitting still for a moment. Aren't you too old for this? Nicholas teased his friend. Antonio was almost 40, while his new wife was barely 22. You know, Antonio replied thoughtfully, I didn't realize how dull my life was. Work, 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 meetings, business trips, rare vacations, and even rarer weekends. But with Marina, I feel young again. She'll settle down soon, especially since she wants a child, but for now, we're just enjoying life. You're lucky, Nicholas sighed. Miranda and I lived such a boring life. We're both only 30, but it felt like we were already retired, no joy, no novelty. Don't worry, now that you're divorced, you'll find your way. Just don't shut yourself off, come over on Saturday. Oh, I don't know, Nicholas resisted, I'm not really into noisy gatherings. We can sit quietly in the library, have a drink, we haven't just talked casually in ages. Let the girls have their fun. And anyway. What? Maybe you'll meet someone, Antonio winked. Marina has a lot of friends, good girls, single. You're quite the catch, wealthy, interesting. I don't need that, I'm tired of everything. Exactly, you're tired. You need to socialize with new people to get over the divorce faster. All right, you convinced me, Nicholas waved his hand. Saturday, you say? Yeah. If I'm in the mood, I'll come. No ifs. Nicholas finished his pizza. Suddenly, he felt a strong urge to talk to Miranda. He fiddled with his phone for a long time, hesitating to dial her number. No, he told himself, there's no point. What would I say? Ask how she is. It's time to move on. I don't even know why I want to talk to her. Just a habit. Antonio is right, I need to distract myself, meet someone new, so I won't even think about it. Nicholas paid and headed home. He fell asleep quickly and, in the morning, took a shower and went for a run. His apartment was close to a scenic waterfront. Jogging past couples and families with children, Nicholas thought of nothing, lost in the music playing in his headphones. Back home, he didn't know what to do. These were the first weekends without Miranda. After Nicholas told her about the divorce, she had continued living with him until the court date. She still cooked, cleaned when not on her shift, and they even had conversations. Miranda's presence had become something taken for granted. This made the contrast stark when she finally packed up and left. The usual sounds of her bustling in the kitchen were gone. Only now did Nicholas realize how much he had gotten used to his wife and how sharply he felt her absence. He decided to clean up. He turned on loud music to drown out the oppressive silence of loneliness. The day flew by. In the evening, Nicholas quickly got ready and headed to Antonio and Marina's party. As soon as he entered their apartment, he was immersed in an atmosphere of noise and fun. Their home was on the top floor of a new high-rise in the city center, with access to the roof where most of the guests were gathered. Nicholas knew some of the people there, though he saw them infrequently. "All right, Nicholas," Antonio placed his heavy hand on Nicholas' shoulder, "let's head straight to the library. I've got something special there for us. You'll have time to meet everyone here later. I need some quiet. I've been in this noise for 3 hours already." "No problem," Nicholas laughed. He really wanted a drink. He rarely drank, but with a friend, he'd happily have a glass or two. The library was quiet. "Good soundproofing," Antonio boasted. "When I get tired of Marina, I always retreat here." "So many books!" Nicholas exclaimed. "Don't tell me you actually read them." "No," Antonio waved him off. "This is my father's collection. When he and my mom moved to the suburbs, he brought it all here. It looks very impressive, very classy. Yeah, when I pour myself a glass of whiskey and sit in this chair, I feel like a lord. We even have a fireplace here. This is your first time visiting, right? I was here when you first moved in, with Miranda. Remember, 2 years ago? Oh, right. Well, as you can see, things have changed. Let me light the fireplace. It's quick, it's gas. You make yourself comfortable." Nicholas settled into a high leather chair. Everything around him was styled like a Victorian interior. The only sign that it was a modern apartment was the huge panoramic window, through which the lights of the city sparkled. Antonio noisily placed 2 glasses with clinking ice cubes and a carved crystal bottle in front of Nicholas. The bottle's contents were dark brown, glistening with golden sparks in the firelight and looking as thick as syrup. "Here," Antonio said proudly, "you won't believe where I got this scotch." "So tell me, I'm listening," Nicholas smirked. "Let me pour first. The aroma alone will drive you crazy. Just try it." Antonio poured the bottle's contents into the glasses. A rich, pleasant smell, mixed with herbs, leather, and something else Nicholas couldn't quite identify, immediately reached him. "Well, here's to us, to new beginnings." Antonio raised his glass, inviting Nicholas to join. They clinked glasses. "To new beginnings," Nicholas nodded. The dense aroma of the strong drink hit his nostrils, and it pleasantly burned his palate. "Wow, I've never tasted anything like this. Is this really whiskey?" "The real deal. It's single malt whiskey, aged for over half a century. Can you believe it?" "Really?" Nicholas was surprised. "I always thought that a respectable age for this drink was around 25 years. "That's for everyone," Antonio smirked. "But these diamonds are reserved for the chosen few." "And you're saying we're among them?" "Exactly. We signed a contract with a company recently, nothing special, but the owner is a descendant of an old Scottish clan with their own distilleries. And it just so happened that I saved his life. This was about 6 months ago. I don't remember if I told you or not. I remember something about an Englishman almost getting crushed on your site. Was it him?" "Yes, exactly. I had a gut feeling something bad was about to happen, so I reacted instinctively and pushed him away just as the cable snapped and the entire press plate came crashing down. Even with a helmet, he wouldn't have stood a chance. We're currently suing the equipment manufacturer over the broken cable." "And what about him?" "We signed the contract, and he was so grateful to be alive that he agreed to any terms. I forgot about it, but a couple of days ago, they delivered a wooden crate to me, lined with straw inside and covered in stamps. When I opened it, I was stunned. There was this dusty bottle, clearly aged. This was his personal way of expressing gratitude. I checked the catalogs to find out what it was and how much it was worth, but there's nothing even close. So, keep in mind, we're drinking a true treasure, priceless and probably unique in the world. Amazing, Nicholas smiled, taking another sip. I don't consider myself a connoisseur, but this is beyond any praise. Thank you, my friend. This memory will last a lifetime. Honestly, I feel a bit guilty drinking it now. Nonsense, we can finish it all right now if you want. Nothing's too good for a friend. We've been inseparables since childhood, and even our age difference doesn't matter. How much younger are you? 8 years? It was noticeable when we were kids, but now it doesn't matter at all. We've been through so much together, it's scary to remember. The only reason we see each other less now is because the older you get, the less time you have for friends. Work, family, responsibilities, there's no time left for old pals. Now with Marina trying to get pregnant, once I become a dad, I'll be even more tied up. Why would you disappear? You've always been an active guy, Nicholas chuckled, and you picked a wife who's just as lively. I'm getting old, brother, getting old, Antonio replied, groaning theatrically. Time's running out, no matter how you look at it. I'll be 40 next year. It's not a big deal, nowadays, they say life begins at 40. Sure, life expectancy has increased. Our grandfathers were considered old men by 30, but it's different for us. But how can I explain it? You're younger, still full of energy, but I feel drained. It's this cursed work. Getting into business means you're bound to age prematurely. On the outside, you might still look good, but inside, everything feels old and worn out. I married a young woman to try and recharge, but I still can't keep up with her. She's got me doing yoga now. What? Nicholas squinted, glancing at his friend's hefty belly spilling over his belt. You and yoga? Those are, to put it mildly, different planets. By the way, if you're talking about the belly, Antonio chuckled, it's not an obstacle at all. I've attended a few classes already, and you know, I really started to feel better. You should try something like that too. I run, that's enough for me, Nicholas shook his head. Yoga is something forbidden for me. You have to change your diet and your mindset, but I'm fine with how things are. Just look at us now, sitting here drinking. If I did yoga, my conscience would probably stop me from enjoying your wonderful whiskey. In a way, you're right, Antonio mused, but it doesn't stop me, as you can see. Maybe I'll change later, but for now, it is what it is. But it really has given me more energy. And does it cure melancholy? Nicholas pondered. Melancholy? His friend frowned. Wait, are you saying you're in the grip of gloom? Are you missing Miranda? You decided to divorce her, so why suffer now? I don't know. It's not that I miss her, it's just unusual to be alone. Everything feels off. Yesterday, I really wanted to call her, but I had no idea what to say. No, my friend, you can't do that. You're stuck in some stage of denial. You just have to get through it. Let's go to the rooftop and find you some lively company. Honestly, I don't feel like it. You need to consciously push yourself out of your comfort zone. Did Marina brainwash you? Nicholas laughed. Yes, but there's some truth in her words. Sometimes you get so used to everything being orderly around you that you miss a lot of opportunities. You shouldn't stand still, Nicholas. Life isn't static, you always have to move. So, come on, I'll pour us another drink, and then we'll go upstairs. Stepping onto the rooftop, Nicholas felt a slight dizziness. The fresh air filled his head with clarity, even his vision seemed sharper. He looked around, the space was decorated with string lights, tropical plants in pots, likely artificial, and wicker sofas piled with cushions where people sat, talking loudly to be heard over the music. The air had a distinct scent. After a moment, Nicholas realized it came from numerous aromatic candles placed on tables, in corners, and along the parapet. There was no wind, despite the late hour and high altitude, so the flames didn't flicker at all. "Well, who do we have here gracing us with their presence?" chirped a cheerful female voice right by Nicholas's ear. He turned around and saw Marina. She was slightly drunk, but her eyes were sparkling with happiness. "Marina," her husband hugged her, "we're here to have fun. Show us what to do." "Great," she squealed. "I'm so glad. I thought you'd spend the whole night in your bookish world." Nicholas wandered among the small groups of people, introducing himself. He didn't even bother remembering names, realizing he was seeing them for the first and last time. The crowd was young, the oldest among them seemed no more than 25. At 30, Nicholas already felt like an old man. Tired of mingling, he moved to the parapet. Antonio and Marina had disappeared somewhere, and he didn't feel like talking to unfamiliar faces. Nicholas realized he was drunk. Leaning against the railing, he looked down, his head spun as the floors cascaded into the glowing abyss of cars below. Everything swirled. Nicholas felt like he was falling, when suddenly, he felt someone's firm grip on his shoulder. "Hey, buddy, are you okay? It's dangerous to stand so close to the edge, especially on the 13th floor. If you fall, you won't learn to fly." Nicholas turned his head, trying to see his rescuer. "Yeah, people aren't meant to be birds yet. You should sit on the couch instead. Why put yourself in danger?" A girl was looking directly into Nicholas's eyes. She seemed almost ethereal. Her long hair flowed down to her waist like a mermaid's. Her thin, nearly transparent hands gripped his shoulders firmly, but it was her eyes that were truly remarkable. They emitted a sort of otherworldly light and looked like two emeralds set in her pale skin. Nicholas stammered. "You're right, I don't feel very well." "Then let me help you to the couch. There's an empty one right over there." The girl nodded in a direction. Nicholas obediently followed her. "My name's Nicholas," he told her as he settled onto the cushions. Emilia, the new acquaintance, extended her hand, which Nicholas promptly seized and unexpectedly kissed. "Wow," Emilia's eyes widened, "that's forward. Or should I take it as a thank you for your wonderful rescue?" "I'm sorry," Nicholas blushed, "I couldn't help myself. Your skin is as delicate as sugar." "I've never heard that before," the girl laughed. "Unfortunately, I have to disappoint you, my skin is quite ordinary." "Are you here alone?" Enough with the formalities, Emilia jabbed Nicholas's chest with her finger. "I'm here with my friends, we came to visit Marina." "Do you know her?" "Marina? Well, yes, she's the wife of my best friend." "Oh," Emilia smiled, "I didn't realize Antonio had such a young friend." "He's turning 40 next year." "He'll be turning 40 next year," Nicholas corrected. "I'm already 30 myself. Wouldn't call myself that young." "The prime age," Emilia chuckled, "while I'm just 20. I've known Marina since university, though she graduated last year, and I still have 2 more years to go." "And what are you studying, if it's not a secret?" "Not a secret, of course. I'm pretty cliché. I want to become a journalist, but not some TV presenter, a real journalist who sheds light on the surrounding reality." "Admirable," nodded Nicholas. "I wouldn't say it's such a cliché profession. As for me, it's all mediocre, just a regular businessman. Sure, I have a fairly large company and we sell complex equipment, but it's nothing particularly interesting. Negotiations, contracts, conflicts, business trips. I don't have a talent for trade. I believe it really takes talent, and in recent years, sales have been left to the unqualified, which is why there's such chaos in the market." "True," agreed the man. "If everyone understood that, things would be much more interesting." "Are you here alone?" the girl suddenly asked. "I can see you're wearing a ring. Where's your wife?" Oh, Nicholas was surprised. Where's my wife indeed? I got divorced this week, so I don't even know where my now ex-wife is. And I hardly care. Did she cheat on you? Emilia smirked. If only. We lived together for almost 8 years, but everything just passed. We didn't want to torture each other further. It wouldn't have ended well anyway. Sometimes that happens, and yet people go on living, Emilia remarked. Well, that's how we decided. Let's not talk about it, Nicholas said. But why do you wear the ring then? Emilia asked. Honestly? Nicholas pondered. Out of habit, I didn't even realize I hadn't taken it off. I've never taken it off since the wedding. But you know what? Let me take it off and throw it away right here and now. Nicholas began to twist the gold band on his ring finger, trying to remove it. The ring wouldn't budge. We need soap, Emilia suggested. Let's go down to the bathroom. I'll help you take it off. Together, they left the rooftop and headed downstairs to the restroom. After wandering among the doors, they finally found the right room. Emilia immediately turned on the water and squeezed some soap into her palm. Come here, she beckoned to Nicholas and soaped up his hand. Now gently twist it, don't pull, or it might swell and we won't be able to remove it at all. Nicholas obediently followed the girl's instructions. After a few manipulations, the ring slipped off. Hurrah! Nicholas exclaimed triumphantly. There goes my whole past life. Emilia took the ring and twirled it in her hands. As Nicholas watched her indifferent movements, he suddenly realized that he really wanted to kiss this girl. He cautiously pulled her closer to him. Emilia hesitated for a moment, her eyes sparked with interest. She obediently leaned in towards Nicholas and responded to his kiss. Miranda gloomily surveyed her room, bags piled up at the door, which she had just brought from Nicholas's place, leaving the keys at the security desk, as he had instructed. She didn't feel like unpacking. She still couldn't believe that a whole life had ended so easily. She had to go to work on Saturday. Very rarely did she get 2 days off, but the woman had no idea how to spend her free time. Her mother had driven her out of the kitchen, firmly stating that she would be in charge in her own house. Miranda just sat on the bed, trying not to think about anything, but her thoughts relentlessly attacked her brain. What do I do now? She thought. I don't even have any friends to discuss everything that's built up inside me. Talking to Mom is pointless. She never understood me. What do women usually do after a divorce? Do they start living for themselves? What does that even mean? Do they go shopping and to beauty salons to find a new look, meet new people, go to a psychologist? I don't want to do any of that, and I have no money anyway. Maybe Nicholas was right. Maybe I'm just a failure who can't think about anything other than her miserable job. But at least I help people. Yeah, you help people, but who will help you? I'm so used to how things were that my brain doesn't even function now. Maybe I should just get some rest and sleep properly, and then go out on Saturday night, when I still can. Maybe these dark circles under my eyes will go away. It's scary to even look in the mirror. The mother knocked on the door. Lunch is ready, she said somewhat discontentedly. Why haven't you unpacked yet? You've been sitting here locked up for a whole hour. What have you been doing? I don't want to, Miranda replied listlessly. The things aren't going anywhere. I'll do it later. Are you afraid memories will flood back? The mother squinted. I am, Miranda nodded. I don't even want to touch those bags. Everything in there, you know, even the toothbrush, reminds me of him. Don't worry, my girl, everything will pass soon. It just takes time. No one died after a divorce. So what if love has passed? There are plenty of men out there. You'll find someone new, and you won't even remember Nicholas. It's good you don't have kids. It would have been harder now. I don't need anyone, Mom, Miranda protested. I just need to find myself. Well, then go somewhere. Don't you have any friends? You could distract yourself. Where would I get friends from? Ever since I started living with Nicholas, I stopped talking to everyone. And the girls from work. It just didn't work out with them. No, they're nice, but I can't talk to them about what's on my mind. Call your old friends, it's never too late. Sure, Miranda smirked, they all have their own lives now, they've forgotten about me. How would I react if after all these years a friend suddenly showed up, with nothing to talk about? You'd react fine, don't make up excuses. Anyway, you can always try. No, I can't do that, I'll manage on my own. As you wish, I only want what's best for you. Let's go eat, the lunch will get cold. Miranda obediently shuffled to the kitchen, but she ate without appetite. After lunch, she went back to her room and almost immediately fell asleep. She slept until morning. Apparently, accumulated fatigue and nervous tension took their toll. In the morning, bright sunshine was streaming through the window. Miranda was surprised that the rain had stopped. After taking a shower, she decided to go for a walk. There was a large park near her mother's house, where she headed. She grabbed a cup of coffee from the nearest cafe and strolled slowly along the pathways. Despite the early hour, people were already wandering everywhere, school children enjoying their vacation, moms with strollers, dog walkers, elderly couples, joggers. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been here, Miranda mused. When was the last time I just took a leisurely stroll? Straight from work to home, chores, Nicholas. He always nagged me to go out. And what leisurely walks when all I wanted was to get some sleep before the next shift. Those corporate parties, they were always the same. I still remember how those ladies in expensive dresses looked at me with disdain. Nicholas always got so mad that I looked like a mess compared to them. But what can I do? I have a tough job, it leaves its mark, no matter how much silk you dress in. Well, that's all behind me now, but I still need to find some kind of hobby. Now I'll have more free time. Mom does everything at home. She won't even let me near the kitchen. I need to think. What do I even like? I've never had any hobbies. I'd join a dance class. The girls from work go to some salsa classes. It costs money though. I'll ask them about it. You can dance at home too. Download instructional videos, music. Mom won't understand, but I'm already 30. Should I rely so much on her opinion? And anyway, I just want to lift my mood, do something out of the ordinary. But what? Miranda looked around. There were shops across the street from the park. Miranda checked her card balance and, after hesitating a bit, headed towards the row of shops. She studied the shop windows for a long time. Buying a new dress was silly in the current circumstances. Yes, it could lift her spirits for a couple of minutes, but then it would just end up in the closet, causing regret for the wasted effort. And then Miranda's eyes fell on the window of a perfume shop. I haven't bought myself perfume in ages. Nicholas, of course, gave me some, but honestly, I didn't really like any of those scents, the woman muttered to herself. Oh well, why not? I'll splurge on myself. Scents have always lifted my mood, especially against the backdrop of hospital aromas. Miranda decisively pushed the massive glass door and immediately immersed herself in the atmosphere of the perfume shop. She carefully walked along the rows, sniffing testers. Some bottles were so beautiful that she was afraid to pick them up. "Can I help you?" a friendly salesgirl asked. "Yes," Miranda replied, stuttering slightly. "I would like to pick out a perfume." "For yourself or as a gift?" "For myself, as a gift," Miranda said with a wry smile, only. The girl noticed the client's embarrassment. "Don't worry," she said soothingly to Miranda, "we have perfumes in different price ranges. We recently received a whole series of very good and affordable scents. I even bought a couple for myself, they're so nice. There are 15 of them in total. We'll definitely find one for you that will bring joy." "Joy?" Miranda absent-mindedly muttered. "You're right, I have a budget, but I want to treat myself. You see, I literally just got divorced from my husband. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I'm in a really bad mood right now." "It's okay," the girl smiled gently. You know, we consultants are a bit like psychologists. We're taught to select scents according to a person's character, so you can calmly tell me everything now if you feel like it. My job is to make you happy. Right now, you're considering simpler options, but life sometimes takes unexpected turns, and everything can change. You might get richer, remember me, and come to choose niche perfumes. So I try to do my best for both you and myself right away. Amazing, Miranda thought, what a strange girl. No, there's definitely logic in her words, but usually girls nowadays are so mercenary. Any other would have tried to sell me more expensive perfumes without caring about my emotional state. And this girl. By the way, my name is Estefania, the saleswoman smiled. And I'm Miranda. Miranda absent-mindedly introduced herself. Nice to meet you. So, Miranda, shall we listen to some scents? Estefania led Miranda to the counter, which was filled with identical rectangular bottles made of thick glass. By the way, it's a domestic brand. Many of our manufacturers have switched to perfumery. With this company, the scents are very long-lasting, the range is diverse, and they're budget-friendly, a real find. What scents do you prefer? I'm not sure, Miranda pondered. My husband always gave me perfumes, but he bought what he liked. These bottles are standing there just like that. Although there are such brands, I'd have to work for them for half my life with my nurse's salary. I see. I think floral scents with light fruity notes would suit you very well. Your type is such that heavy perfume would only spoil your appearance. Think about which flowers or fruits you like the most. As a child, I loved jasmine very much. There was such a lush bush growing near our house, I constantly picked flowers from it and dried them in books. And fruits. I love pears the most, but I don't know if these two scents go together. Generally, pears don't smell as strong. You're mistaken, Estefania shook her head. Pear has a very expressive aroma, and it complements jasmine perfectly as an addition. Let's try these two options. Here, the scent opens with citrus and pear, transitions to jasmine and rose in the heart, and finishes with sweet vanilla and vetiver in the base. Miranda inhaled the scent from the test strip. Very pleasant, but I think it's a bit musky? Yes, perhaps a little heavy. Then let's try this one. Estefania sprayed another strip and handed it to the woman. Miranda breathed in the scent and immediately felt something like an electric shock. It was as if she was momentarily transported back to that same bush that grew outside her windows. It was a hot summer day, dust rising from the asphalt mingled with some warmth and fluffiness. She could hear the voices of her little friends calling her to the swings, and her mother from the balcony, who had just finished cooking pear jam, calling her home for coffee. I can see from your eyes that I hit the mark, Estefania chuckled. This is incredible, Miranda whispered. It's like I've gone back to my childhood. Yes, in the top notes, there's red pear, Sicilian lemon, pink pepper, and jasmine in the heart, and on the dry down, there's teakwood, cedar, and iris. A very summery and light fragrance, it will develop even more beautifully on the skin. Let's apply it to your wrist. Let's, Miranda nodded, obediently extending her arm. If you want, you can take a little walk to let the fragrance fully develop, and then come back later to pick it up. No, Miranda shook her head, sniffing her skin. I already know this is mine. I'll take it, Estefania. Thank you very much. You're welcome, the girl smiled. It's just my job. Come back anytime, we have permanent discounts, and I'll give you a discount now too, even though these are new fragrances. I'll treat you as I would treat myself. Well, you will probably lose a percentage then? No problem, wealthy ladies will come later who care more about the price tag than the scent. They're the ones who make the bulk of my sales, but I enjoy working with real people like you. By the way, don't apply perfume before work, just a tiny bit on your neck if at all. But after your shift. I remembered correctly that you're a nurse, didn't I? Yes. Once you finish work and take a shower, then apply it. All those hospital smells and chlorine will instantly disappear, and your mood will lift. Absolutely, I'll do just that. Thank you again, I'll definitely come back. I can't promise it will be soon. With my salary, I don't often resemble a shopper, but finding my perfect perfume isn't easy. This bottle will last you a long time, and then, as I've already said, anything can happen. Never plan ahead, especially in a negative light. Okay, Miranda laughed and left the store. Friday flew by unnoticed, and on Saturday, Miranda was already getting ready for work. Following Estefania's advice, she didn't shower with her new perfume, just applied a little to the pulse points on her neck. Miranda walked to the hospital from her mother's house. It was easier to get to work from there. The scent of jasmine seemed to repel negative thoughts from the woman, filling her from the inside with some magical warmth. Upon starting her shift, Miranda immediately plunged into the frantic pace of her work. It was all too familiar to her, so she didn't even notice that she was working beyond human capacity. By midnight, things calmed down. Miranda finished her rounds and went to the nurse's station to have some coffee. At that moment, an urgent call came in. Surgeon Nestor Diaz, who Miranda often worked with, came running down the corridor, out of breath, and addressed her. Miranda, we urgently need you in the ICU right now. Paulina is assisting me, but I'm afraid we won't manage without you. What happened, Nestor? Miranda recoiled from him in fright. Femoral artery punctured, significant blood loss plus crushed bone. Come down quickly, Paulina will explain everything. I'll be right there. Miranda rushed into the operating room of the ICU, quickly went through the disinfection process. Her senior colleague Paulina immediately led her into the operating room, where a young man lay on the table with a mangled leg. Nestor Diaz will be performing the surgery. The guy has lost so much blood, it's terrible. He's also blood type O negative. There's very little blood available for transfusion. I don't even know if it will be enough. Poor kid, so young, it's an accident. Paulina, I'm O negative, Miranda blushed. Will you donate? Nestor's voice came from behind her. Of course, Miranda replied without hesitation. Paulina, urgently call the blood bank, have them send someone over, and Ada, call her immediately, there's no time. Miranda went to the procedure room to have her blood drawn. She wasn't present during the surgery, she was replaced by another nurse, Ada. Exhausted, Nestor exited the operating room and immediately approached Miranda. Well, sister, thank God everything went well. The young guy is still weak, of course, but I managed to save his leg. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid we would have had to deliver terrible news to his family. And I didn't even know you had such a rare blood type. Will you remember all this amidst your cares? Miranda weakly smiled. I'll come to myself in a moment and be ready to continue the shift. Don't even think about it, they'll bring you some sweet coffee now. Rest. I hope this incident was the last one today. Can you imagine, the boy was just going home, and then a drunk taxi driver crashed into him. A passenger in the taxi died, and he, well, you see. The passenger died? Miranda paled. Yes, I don't even know how to break it to him. He won't come to his senses for a while, his parents are already downstairs, they say. Miranda felt herself losing consciousness, the loss of a considerable amount of blood was taking its toll. Come on, stay with me, Nestor shouted. Yes, Nestor, the procedure room nurse, Paulina, rushed in. Quickly, Paulina, get Miranda some smelling salts and sweet coffee. I'll do it right away. Miranda came to her senses in the morning. Realizing she had slept almost the entire night, she felt a sense of shame. She immediately jumped off the couch. Her head was spinning slightly. With a slight stagger, she walked out into the corridor and headed to the nurse's station. The senior nurse was sitting at the desk. Looking at Miranda over her glasses, she frowned disapprovingly. I know you saved that boy's life yesterday, the woman croaked. But have you rested now? Miranda replied, avoiding eye contact. She genuinely feared this stern elderly woman but secretly admired her. Miranda had witnessed the senior nurse's selflessness many times, dreaming of one day getting even a little closer to her level. "Can you work?" "Of course." "You look a bit pale, but okay, just make sure you don't harm yourself." "Look, go to room 17 now, they transferred that boy there. You need to administer pain relief. It's all written here. Can you handle it?" "You're teasing," Miranda attempted a smile. "I see you're smiling, which means you have plenty of free time," the senior nurse glanced sternly. Miranda didn't reply, grabbed the chart, and hurried out of the nurse's station. Room 17 had its windows curtained. Inside were 2 beds, one occupied by a night patient. According to the chart, the young man's name was Augustin de Toro, 28 years old. Miranda entered quietly and drew the curtains aside. She approached the young man quietly and drew medication from an ampoule into a syringe. After changing the 4 bag, she injected the medicine, checked the patient's catheter, and was about to leave when the young man opened his eyes. "Where am I?" he asked barely audibly. "You're in the hospital," Miranda replied in a calming tone. "Everything's okay." "Yesterday." "Don't say anything. You're still very weak." "I'll get the doctor now." Miranda didn't wait for a response and slipped out of the room. Nestor had already gone home. A dry, petite old woman named Vanessa Santos, who was older than the hospital itself, had taken over the shift. She didn't spend much time in Augustin's room before giving Miranda strict instructions. "Miranda," Vanessa declared in a creaky but firm voice, "the boy has regained consciousness, but he's very weak. Check on him more often. I have 2 more surgeries today, and I'm afraid I won't be able to keep up. I don't trust the other girls like I trust you." "Of course, Vanessa. I'm on until 8 today, but I can take another shift. There's nothing for me to do at home anyway, and I slept almost the entire night after donating blood. I'll tell the girls to switch shifts. Everyone should be like you, Miranda. In my day, nurses put patients above themselves, but nowadays, all the girls care about are fake nails and men with flowers. You're a great young woman, and I'm very proud that you, without hesitation, gave your blood to this boy. Could I have done otherwise? Well, another person might have kept silent. It's hard for you now too, I know. After a divorce, one would usually take a break. What break? At work, time flies faster, and there's no room for other thoughts. That may be so, but I sense that it was because of work that you got divorced. Am I wrong? Work has nothing to do with it, Miranda retorted passionately. We just fell out of love. It happens, the old woman shrugged, but there's nothing to be ashamed of. My husband and I also split because of my profession. He couldn't stand that I lived in the hospital, so he left. And look at me now, alive and well. Everything will pass, dear. The main thing is not to lose heart. After the conversation with the doctor, Miranda walked through the wards, taking a couple of patients for procedures. Lunchtime was approaching. She went to the cafeteria and loaded up a cart with trays. The 17th room was last in line. Miranda stopped the cart in front of the door, placed the trays on a tray stand, and entered. Augustin was awake, silently lying and staring out the window. Lunch, Miranda said softly to get the young man's attention. It seemed he didn't see anything or anyone around him. Let me help you sit up a bit for comfort, Miranda offered. No need, the young man unexpectedly replied. You need to eat, you've lost a lot of blood. You need to replenish your strength, or you'll be here for a long time. If you're worried it won't taste good, don't be. We cook pretty well here at the hospital. They say today's soup is excellent. I'm not hungry, Augustin shook his head. Don't try to deceive me, Miranda smiled. I'll leave everything here, and I'll be back in half an hour. If you don't eat, blame yourself. Augustin didn't reply. Miranda waited for a moment and then left to collect trays from the other rooms. When she returned to room 17, she saw that the food remained untouched, and the young man lay facing the wall. Miranda shrugged and left. The situation repeated itself in the evening, but this time, as Miranda was collecting dinner trays, Augustine unexpectedly addressed her. "Miss, can you tell me?" His voice sounded strained and hoarse. "Yes," Miranda even jumped in surprise. "I was told that my sister died." "Is it true?" "Listen," the nurse replied after a moment's thought, "let me take this card away now and come back. I have to change your four anyway, and then we'll talk. Okay?" "So it is true," Augustine said, staring into space. "Okay, come back. I probably need to talk to someone now." Half an hour later, Miranda was back with Augustine. She quickly changed his four, gave him all the necessary medications, and sat down beside him on a chair. "I have about 15 minutes, she looked apologetically at the floor. "Work, you know. Ask whatever you want." "I only remember a sharp blow and everything spinning. And then it was dark, and then there was this smell. It was like waking up from a deep sleep. That was the anesthesia, it's odorless gas, but sometimes it triggers associations. No, it was different. It smelled like flowers, like my grandmother's garden. I don't know the name, that smell just pulled me in, and then I woke up here, and the doctor came and told me what happened. My parents. Tomorrow, I think they'll be able to visit you. I'm sorry about your sister's death, it's unbearable, but nothing can be changed now. You need to think about yourself. And for that, you need to eat. You're being stubborn, but I know very well that even the simplest chicken broth will get you back on your feet faster than these IVs, especially after losing so much blood. And tell me, the doctor said one of your nurses donated blood for me. My blood type is rare, and if it weren't for her, I would have surely died." "Yes, it's true," Miranda blushed deeply. "Who is she?" I don't know. If you want, I can find out." "Yes, please do. I don't know how to thank that woman. You know, I don't think your gratitude will solve anything. It's our job, anyone in her place would have done the same." "Do you think so?" "Somehow, it doesn't seem that way to me." "Well, I have to go." Miranda gathered her things. "I'll visit again." Miranda visited Augustine several more times before leaving for the weekend. The young man met with his parents and slowly recovered. Miranda never told him she was a blood donor, informing him instead that the nurse wished to remain anonymous. After the weekend, Miranda went straight to room 17. Augustine looked much better. Apparently, Ada managed to get him to eat after all. "I was wondering where you disappeared to," Augustine said, pleased to see Miranda at the door. "Well, nurses need to rest sometimes too," Miranda laughed. "How are you feeling?" "Better," Augustine nodded. "The doctor said they'll discharge me in a week, maybe 2. Then, of course, I'll have to walk around in a cast for a while." "That's good, but you'll still have to endure the IVs for now. I know this medication is a bit painful, but it contains vitamins. You need to regenerate tissue. Let me help you sit up." "Let's," Augustine replied playfully. "I refused at first. After all, I'm a man. On the other hand, if a beautiful girl offers, it's silly to refuse." Miranda blushed, not expecting to hear a compliment. She composed herself and approached Augustine to adjust his pillow. "Here we go again," he fretted. "What's wrong?" Miranda asked, concerned. "That smell. Remember the one I mentioned?" "The smell?" "Yes, the smell of my grandmother's flowers." "Ah," Miranda faltered, embarrassed. "That must be my perfume." "Lean down, will you?" Miranda leaned in towards Augustine. He sniffed and nodded approvingly. "That smell pulled me back from the afterlife, there's no doubt about it." "You're exaggerating, Augustine," Miranda wrinkled her nose. "Nestor pulled you back, and... Augustine squinted mischievously. "Miranda, I know I shouldn't have done it, but I asked the doctors about who my donor was. Something seemed off in your explanations. But why did you hide it from me?" "Why?" Miranda pondered. "You see, I don't see anything extraordinary about it. Every day, healthcare workers face situations where a split second decides everything, or at least a lot. I saw a dying person whom I could help. Would you have hesitated in my place? And I gave my blood without regret to someone who needed it more. Talking about it would be like bragging. It's not about bragging, it's about being proud. Miranda, thanks to you, I'm alive. I don't know how to repay my salvation. And that smell. Your perfume penetrated into my subconscious, reminded me of childhood, of happiness, and only on it did I rely when I wandered through the dark corridors in search of a way back to reality. Don't exaggerate. Not at all, Augustine countered, squeezing the nurse's hand tightly. Miranda, let's make a deal. When I'm discharged, I invite you to a restaurant. Do you like going to restaurants? Honestly, not really, and with a cast, it probably won't be very convenient. That's okay. This restaurant is special, it's mine, and I'm the chef there. Right now, someone else has to feed people there, unfortunately. I hope they don't scare everyone away. You have your own restaurant? Miranda was surprised. Well, more like a family cafe, but we have waiters. Don't refuse. Dinner prepared by me will be the least I can do for what you've done for me. All right, Miranda bit her lower lip. Just make sure it's on a weekend, and anyway, you should get discharged first. They'll discharge me, no worries. Nicholas sat on the balcony, smoking. He had started smoking about a year ago because his nerves couldn't take it anymore. Where the hell is she? He thought irritably, looking at the stream of cars passing by below the windows. I can't stand this anymore. And I know she's cheating, but I can't catch her. She turned off her phone. When she gets back, she'll lie that the battery died and she had nowhere to charge it. Found herself a fool. No, I absolutely can't take this anymore. She's been wearing me out for 5 years, 5 years. And at first, she seemed so exemplary, a wife, a beauty, smart, won't touch a penny without asking, a journalist, what a title. I know where and how she gets her interviews, doesn't take care of the house at all, just keeps pulling money from me for her clothes. Nicholas, my bag hasn't been fashionable for a month. Nicholas, I need money for a cosmetologist. Nicholas, my girlfriends and I want to go to Dubai. I'm so bored here. You're always at work. Well, of course, I'm at work. How am I supposed to provide for all these whims? Where on earth does she spend her money? Bought a car, great, but for some reason, she registered it under her brother's name, and I haven't even seen this brother once in 5 years. We moved because of her. What a fool I am, selling the family apartment and moving into this soulless box. And all for her, for Amelia. She wanted a penthouse, not suitable for her status, she says, to me, a respectable businessman, to huddle in a small apartment. Of course not. And what do we need this airport for, anyway? How much money we've poured into repairs? It'll be where the kids grow up. Of course. And where are the kids? As soon as the topic of a child comes up, she immediately turns foolish, her career, her figure. A fool is a fool, though no, she's actually smart. It's me, the idiot, who fell for her sweet face. Marina buzzed in my ear, saying that Amelia was in love, couldn't sleep or eat. Such women are only for mistresses, not wives. Now, Miranda, that's another story. Everything was different with her, and again, I, the fool, turned away from such happiness. What was I thinking then? Quiet, modest, compassionate, everything was always clean and delicious at home. And this housekeeper, this old hag, in cahoots with Amelia, covers for her. She must pay her well to make sure the old woman only tells me what I should hear. And her lovers wouldn't surprise me if she brings them here. Although no, that's out of the question, you can't bribe the guards and neighbors, someone would still spill. Where do I put her now? Divorce her? She'll take half of everything from me, skillfully got her hands on the country house, the apartment, and the car. Everything was acquired in the marriage, and I'm just an idiot, blinded by passion, just nodding and paying. And I couldn't care less about this money. Better to leave everything now as it is. I won't be left without means completely, but at least I'll take away what's left of my pride. She won't be able to claim the company anyway. Nicholas was interrupted by the sound of the door slamming shut. He immediately jumped up and left the balcony for the living room. His wife stood there, barely able to stand, reeking of alcohol, makeup smudged on her face. "Well, where have you been? I've been calling you all evening." "Sweetie, my phone died," Emilia began to justify herself, stumbling over her words. "Stop lying," Nicholas snapped. "You can charge it anywhere." "Where were you, I'm asking?" "Marina and I were celebrating my appointment." "What appointment? What nonsense are you spouting? Do you think I'm such a fool that I didn't call your Marina? Of course, she lied to me too, but I had the sense to call Antonio, who informed me that Marina was peacefully soaking in the bathtub. Speak up immediately, and mind you, if you lie, I won't vouch for myself." "Oh," Emilia laughed, kicking off her shoes and collapsing onto the couch. "He won't vouch for himself. And what are you going to do, I wonder? Kick me out? Hit me? I'll file for divorce," Nicholas cut her off. "I'm tired of your antics, Emilia. I'm your husband and have the right to know where and with whom you spend your time, especially since I'm the one paying for all of this. Look who's talking. What did you expect? Marry a queen to be kind enough to support her crown. What nonsense are you talking? You're the queen? Take a look at yourself, you ragged cat, running around God knows where, and now I have to witness all of this. Go wash up, then we'll talk." Emilia laughed. She laughed so loudly and for so long that soon laughter turned into sobbing. "You're a real fool, Nicholas. That's it, I'm fed up with this too. Yes, I'm cheating on you." "Who is he?" Nicholas asked calmly, feeling everything boiling inside. "He?" Emilia looked at him in bewilderment. "How should I know? Today one, tomorrow another. I'll go with whoever I meet and like." "Are you serious right now?" The man frowned. "Maybe yes, maybe no," the wife chuckled. "You're just disgusting. Go wash up and get some sleep. As for what to do with you, we'll decide tomorrow." "Oh, he's going to decide, what an honor. Do you think that if I have a ring on my finger, I immediately become your property? Nothing like that. I'm an adult, self-sufficient woman. I have the right to spend my free time as I please, without answering to anyone." "That's where you're mistaken, dear," Nicholas got angry. "Just the fact that you wear the ring, which I, by the way, put on your finger, listening to your vows. We're family, and that imposes certain obligations. I didn't mean to restrict your freedom, but you could at least let me know if you're going to be late, so I don't wait and worry in vain. Or are you so irresponsible? Then why do you need a husband at all? Emilia, I thought you were a smart woman, but you're just. Go away, I don't want to see you. Do as you please. Tomorrow, I'll file for divorce, and I don't care anymore if you're faithful to me or not. It's enough that you show me no respect as a husband." "Oh," Emilia rolled her eyes. "Did you throw such a fit of rage with your last wife too? Looks like you're used to it, darling. But that little wife was quieter, a failure, you said it yourself, and she didn't even argue with you, or, on the contrary, she was too smart and immediately understood that it's better to agree to a divorce, so you wouldn't throw tantrums like this. Don't you dare say anything about Miranda. Compared to you, she's a saint. Yes, I rushed back then, but I regret it deeply. And you? You just fell into my lap conveniently. I wouldn't be surprised if Marina deliberately told you back then that there would be a man at the party, not very smart or discerning, but well off. Grab him while you can. Was it like that? Was it? Confess. And even if it was, so what then?" Emilia dared. "What then? Fine, let's get divorced, no problem, but first find out what I'll get after the divorce, and what you'll be left with, and you'll even have to pay alimony." "Alimony?" Nicholas was astonished. "What alimony?" The most ordinary ones. I'm pregnant, Nicholas. I was just at the doctor today. And that's why I drank. Have you gone completely mad? Can pregnant women drink? Well, you know, one time won't hurt. I won't do it again, I promise. When else will I have the chance, so I decided to have one last fling. I don't believe you. You're saying this now so I'll forgive your antics once again, and then you'll come up with something else. Emilia, I'm tired of your lies. No lies, darling. Emilia laughed and pulled something out of her purse. Look, here, these are the ultrasound results. Nicholas grabbed the paper with the attached image, scanned through the lines with surprise, then looked at his wife. Is this true then? Imagine, yes, Emilia triumphantly gleamed with her emerald eyes. I still don't believe it. And what guarantees that this is my child? Yours, don't even doubt it, especially since we can do a DNA test. We can even go tomorrow, even now before childbirth, they do all that. Just remember, even if you still decide to file for divorce, it won't happen while I'm pregnant. And as soon as I give birth, you'll be left with nothing. Got it? You're such a snake. Nicholas crumpled the ultrasound results in his hand. Do as you please. Nicholas locked himself in the bedroom and lay there for a long time, staring at the ceiling. If she's not lying, then it changes everything, though I fear not in my favor, the man thought. I need to call a lawyer. There must be a way to ensure that the child stays with me after the divorce, although, knowing this woman, it's easy to assume she'll stop at nothing to get what she wants. And she doesn't really need the child at all. But judging by the term in the document, it's too late for an abortion. How did she miss that? Or did she deliberately not say anything? I wouldn't even be able to get rid of my own child. No, I think the law is on my side. Worst case scenario, I'll give money to whoever needs it, let her give birth, but she won't get the child. Let her take half of the property, but nothing more. I definitely won't live with her. Although, I could just leave her without divorcing. But what about the child then? Damn, why is everything so complicated? Why couldn't she avoid these problems? I wonder where she is now, what she's doing, if she's happy. I would give a lot to get her back. Maybe I should try? Anyway, Emilia won't give me any peace, and finding a new woman would be more expensive. Maybe it's fine for some people to be alone, but I'm not sure I could handle it. Still, I'll try talking to Miranda. Maybe she's still single. What am I saying? With her job, she probably wouldn't find anyone. When? She's probably even crazier now, but that's okay. I have a lot of money. Real miracles are performed by cosmetologists nowadays. I'll take her somewhere immediately, to Asia, for example. She's always dreamed of going there. Nicholas didn't notice how he fell asleep. He didn't even hear Emilia wreaking havoc in the room, sweeping everything within reach in a fit of rage. Gradually, the amount she drank took its toll. The girl calmed down and, apparently, fell asleep too. Have you packed your suitcase? Augustin grumbled discontentedly, peering into the nursery. Shoo, you'll wake Rufio, Miranda whispered back, tucking the blanket in the crib. Yes, I've packed. Miranda headed for the door, drawing her husband after her. Closing the door, she kissed him on the stubbled cheek. Miranda, remember, there won't be time for this tomorrow. Rufio and I will come to the hospital in the evening, and from there straight to the airport. If I forgot something, blame yourself. What could I forget? You can always buy everything you need on the spot. You're always like this, Augustin smiled. Okay, let's go sit for a while, have some coffee. How are they managing at work? I hope they'll manage. Miranda's face took on a sad expression. Last time they seemed to cope without me. I love your scent so much, Augustin embraced her, from the very first day. Don't start, the woman laughed, it's just perfume. But they're my happiest. Now I don't even know how things would have turned out if I hadn't gone into that store back then. Everything would have turned out beautifully anyway. I would have found you. Do you understand that it's fate? Do you believe in fate? How else could it be? We both had to go through a lot to meet each other. Isn't that so? But the reward was what we have. I wouldn't change anything about my past if I had the chance. Olenka, you've made me the happiest person in the world. And when Rufio was born, you're the one who made me the happiest, and I think we can still compete about that. Listen, are you sure you packed everything in the suitcase? Let's check while we still have time. No need. Don't you trust me? How could I not? Trust is the foundation of our relationship, and, by the way, I don't know how it works, but I can immediately sense when you're being deceitful. It makes my blood boil instantly. Augustine, enough already, it's been so many years. Okay, let's go have some coffee and sleep. After all, you have your last shift tomorrow, and then the long-awaited vacation. Rufio is so excited, he really wants to see the monkeys. He's been pestering me with those videos. He'll see both monkeys and the ocean. I'm so glad we're taking him this time. Last time Mom had to leave him, we didn't dare take him when he was little. By the way, we should have taken Mom with us. No way, sometimes you need a break from her too. Thank God, since the grandson appeared, she's toned down her enthusiasm, but still. Okay, we'll buy her vacation packages later, wherever she wants to go. She's probably tired of the routine, apartment country house. Yes, she's so happy with the country house, she never thought she had such a passion for gardening, the best gift for her anniversary. In the morning, Miranda quickly got ready, kissed her husband and son, and headed to the hospital. Parking in her usual spot, she went inside. The place was already bustling with activity. Miranda, one of the nurses, approached Miranda with eyes wide with horror. What's wrong, Patricia? We're out of bandages. That can't be, Miranda was surprised. Just 2 days ago, the delivery truck came, they brought everything. Did you check the small storage room? Oh, right, the nurse jumped. What a mess. Patricia, please be careful. I won't be here for 3 weeks. Is everything going to fall apart? No, the woman hurried to reassure her. Paulina will take over for you, she won't let us down. Good, get to work then. Entering the nurse's station, Miranda turned on her computer, checked the schedule. There were 4 planned surgeries scheduled for the day. She checked with the lists of doctors and nurses, put on her gown, brewed herself some coffee. After taking a sip, she set out on her rounds. People from all directions bombarded her with questions, but Miranda quickly responded to each one, greeting the doctors along the way. By lunchtime, the storm had subsided, and Miranda was able to relax a bit. Since she came out of maternity leave and took on the role of head nurse, moments to catch her breath had become rare, but Miranda successfully managed her duties. Now she had a stable schedule and, albeit small, a fulfilled dream. Of course, there was added responsibility, but Miranda willingly trained new girls who decided to dedicate their lives to helping others. There was a knock at the door. Come in, Miranda called out. Miranda, the head of one of the nurses, appeared. There's a man looking for you at the reception. For me? What does he need? I don't know. He says it's a personal matter, a relative, but he didn't introduce himself. He's waiting downstairs. Should I tell him you won't come? All right, I'll go down. Hopefully, not for long. I don't want to miss lunch. I'm so hungry. They're serving chicken in the cafeteria. Maybe you should take some before it's all gone. Great, get some for me. I'll be there soon. Miranda hurried to the elevator and descended to the lobby to the reception area. Girls, she addressed the administrators, did someone ask for me? Miranda? A male voice came from behind her. Miranda startled and turned around. She hadn't heard that voice in 5 years, but she recognized it immediately. Nicholas? She exclaimed in surprise. I didn't expect to see you. Someone told me a relative was asking for me. And it's me, apparently not just a relative. You've changed. I see you're not just a nurse anymore. You look great. I didn't even recognize you right away. Thank you, Miranda smiled, blushing slightly. Yes, it's been 2 years as a head nurse since I came out of maternity leave. Maternity leave? Yeah. Why does that surprise you? Oh, nothing, Nicholas chuckled nervously. Of course, it's been so many years, I should have guessed you already have a child. But how? You're always so busy with work. Well, usually, right after we got divorced, I met someone. They brought him here for surgery. And somehow, everything just fell into place, and now we've been married for 5 years. Rufio, my son, is already 3. So, you have a son? That's great, Nicholas extended. And you? How about you? Me? Oh, everything's fine. I got married 5 years ago too, and I met Amelia almost right away as well. She's expecting a child now, already 4 months along. That's wonderful. I'm happy for you both. Listen, do you have something urgent? No, not really. I was just passing by and suddenly memories flooded in. So, I decided to drop by, didn't even think you'd still be working here. Well, where else would I go from here? Miranda laughed. Listen, I'm on my lunch break now. The girls in the cafeteria probably already took food for me. But we could grab a bite together. The food here is good, restaurant level, if you're not too picky. Well, Nicholas stammered. Maybe we could go somewhere tonight? I have to get back to work now. Oh, Nicholas, I'm so glad to see you. I never would have thought, and I'd gladly go somewhere with you. My evenings are free every day now, but tonight I'm flying out. I'm on vacation starting tomorrow, going to Indonesia with my husband and son to see the monkeys. Rufio is obsessed with them. Vacation? Nicholas hesitated. Well, okay, let's do it some other time then. I won't keep you any longer. It was nice seeing you. It's great that everything's going well for you. You see how it goes. If we were still together, unhappy, hadn't divorced, we'd both be miserable, but now we both have families. I love my husband and son dearly, and it's great that you're going to be a father too. I hope your wife is a good person. Nicholas nodded. He stood in the lobby for a long time, watching his ex-wife disappear into the elevator. When she was gone, he continued to stare. You fool, he said aloud. Look at the wife you lost. And it's all your ego and high demands. She even looks younger, although she's older now, so confident. How could I ever consider her a failure? I'm the real failure here. They're right when they say that when you call someone names, you're just openly declaring your own shortcomings. You can tell she's happy. And what did I hope to achieve by coming here? Oh well, life goes on. Maybe it really is all for the best. Nicholas slowly walked to the exit. His phone was vibrating in his pocket, but he didn't feel like answering.
If you're enjoying it as well, leave a like and subscribe.